Yo, what's good, everybody? Welcome to the Travel Hour, episode 7. Hold on, let me back up. Let me start over. Bienvenido, El Travel Hour. So welcome to the Travel Hour, and we had to do it in Spanish today because I'm coming live from Medellin, Colombia. So definitely had to pay homage to where I'm at. But MP, we're at season 7. How you feeling, man?
Yeah, season 1, episode 7.
Season, yeah. Look, I'm over here projecting. Hold on, we still in season 1, episode 7.
We appreciate the zealousness, though. We on our way, but I'm doing good. I'm here in Long Beach, California. It's not Columbia, but I'm here.
You know what's crazy? The weather's very similar. It's very mild weather, so it's not too hot, not too cold, and a
Mhm.
nice little breeze coming in and out. But definitely a vibe, and so I do recommend it. I'll talk a little bit more about that later. But I'm super excited about today's episode because we got some amazing guests,
Yes, sir.
and they're going to talk about some great stuff. So today's episode, we're going to be talking about uh, working abroad while black, right? So we got black folks out here doing a lot of different things. MP, I know you had the experiences with externships and traveling abroad and internships and things like that. And so you had the opportunity to go to different countries and things like that as well
Mhm.
during college. And so even after the fact, we know it's a blessing that we know people that are actually out there, working abroad and doing their thing, right?
For sure, for sure. It's definitely a great experience too. So if you are interested in working abroad, doing an internship, living abroad for a couple of years, I encourage you to do it, bro. I encourage all of our listeners. If that's something that you desire to do, please do it.
Definitely, and I will say that it's a good thing to do. One thing that I've been noticing a lot lately is that I've been running to a lot of Europeans in the places that I've traveled to, and they travel. Like
Hmm.
I met one person the other day, and they're just like, "Yeah, like we're gonna be traveling throughout Colombia for about 3 weeks." And I'm like, "Yeah, I would have had to do that in about 6 days because I'm not taking off work for almost a month, right?" But
Right.
uh, I think it just goes back to perspectives, right? They always talk about, you know, not living to work, not working to live, but living to work, and things like that.
Right.
And so, super
I
important
think
to keep these.
it also shows you the difference because they say America is not an employee friendly country, right? And so you have these countries like in Europe who, I think we talked about it in an earlier episode, they get like maybe 30 PTO days. And we, might at best get 6 weeks. Some people get 16 days. And so it goes to show you, like, they value their citizens and want to make sure that rest and there's a work life balance. So yeah, I think hopefully one day the United States of America will get there. But we'll see. I won't hold my breath.
True story. And speaking of these United States of America, there is a lot going on in the world right
Is it united? Look.
now. That's the question of the day. Um, there's just a lot going on, and I know things are heavy right now. Not even going to sugarcoat
Mhm.
anything. I want to be present. I want to be in the moment. I want to understand and fully take on the grasp of what truly is going on in this country, right?
Yeah.
Um, but on a positive note, I will say this is that if anybody is planning to travel to Europe anytime soon, you might want to take advantage of that because right now, I checked it last night, and the euro is pretty close. It's probably the weakest the euro has been compared to the USD. And so right now, €1 is about $1.05. So it's only 5 cents difference. Um, so if you got any trips going to Europe, that will help. And then also, of course, like when you get over there, our experience in Europe was that the euro does stretch. So
Yeah.
um, yeah, it'd be a
You
good time to
definitely
go to
get
Europe.
more for you get more for your buck with the euro.
Definitely, definitely. But yeah, even with the euro going on, I did want to take some time and just reflect on what has happened in the past 2 weeks, right?
Hmm.
And I know that it's interesting, right? Because let me set the stage for myself. I was traveling yesterday out of the country, and I fly in, and I'm getting the hustle and bustle and making my way to the hotel and all that good stuff. And my phone, once it gets connected to the Wi-Fi, the alerts start going off and things like that. And as I'm like getting my stuff unsettled in the room, I finally get to my phone and I see the news clip and go across the phone, and I'm like, Are you serious? Like just last week, we dealt with the mass shooting, and this week, I just learned about yesterday that there was a shooting at an elementary school. Right? MP, what are your thoughts? How you feeling right now with everything that is going on?
I think it's a lot. It's a lot to unpack, right? I did not sleep well at all last night, thinking about like all those children who went to school and were expecting to come home. And this is just like 10 days after the Buffalo incident, right? Um, and the questions that I asked is, I'm kind of like Steve Kerr, right? When he did his press conference before the game, the Mavs and the Warriors game yesterday, just like enough is enough. When are we going to do something about it? And how in the world are these 18-year-olds getting access to handguns and automatic rifles, right? And causing like great damage, horrific damage, and taking lives. It's a lot, and it's just it's a lot. And I know it's still fresh, so we probably won't stay on this topic too long. But it's just like how, and you just see how, as Americans, we desensitized ourselves to it, right? We all got up again today and just went on with our normal routine because, unfortunately, this is nothing new, and that's the sad part about it.
I agree. It's interesting. I saw something that said that we as a nation got it wrong when we didn't pass gun reform after the Sandy Hook's incident,
Yeah, for
um,
sure. Yep.
massacre. Let me say, we've got to do a better job. Do I have all the answers? I don't. But what I do countries have other ways in handling things, right? And they do pretty well. When you talk about people, most countries don't allow guns as give so much wide access as we do, right? And when you look at it, we incarcerate the most people in the world by
Mm-hmm.
country. We spend the most money on policing and militaries, and we also, we deal with the most violent crimes and what's supposed to be the greatest free nation in the world, right?
Right.
So obviously, something is not working, and there's got to be change. I know it doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't mean that it's going to eliminate everything. We understand that, but we can admit that we can do better. And so at the end of the day, I even want to take time to focus on the victims. Because a lot of times we even get caught
Yeah.
up in, trying to get the facts, and we want to get the facts with more. But we lost some kids yesterday. We lost some
Mm-hmm.
teachers. We also,
He shot his
we lost
grandmother.
some folks that look like us.
That's the set. Like he shot his grandmother before getting out the car and going to the school. It's Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. And you would think, as we talk, and this would be the last thing I say about Texas, particular, a state that's supposed to be so pro life, right? Um, won't make any gun rules to protect the life that they are trying to, I guess, be so pro life about. So they care more about the baby in the womb than outside of the womb, and that's just the sad reality of it. But definitely prayers up for the families. My heart goes out, and yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. So, travel our family. If you out there and you listening, we just want y'all to make sure that y'all take time to take care of you. We know things like this can be very, very. It's real. I've tried to desensitize myself to it, but at the end of the day, I have a lot of empathy. I'm an empath, and so I feel, when death hits me a little different, and it hurts.
Yeah.
And so whatever you gotta do to take care of yourself, whether that's getting off of social media for a couple minutes, whether that's going for a walk in the park, maybe that's just getting away this weekend and going to take some time on Memorial Day and spending time with family. Make sure you do that too.
Hmm. For sure. For sure. Prayers up. Continue. We can lift the those victims' families in prayer in Texas and in Buffalo. One of the victims in Buffalo, I didn't know her directly, but she was a member of the denomination that I'm a part of, and I know a lot of people that go to her church who were affected by the incident. And she was on her way home from seeing her husband in a nursing home, right? And so it's just pretty sad. that people are ruthless, people are sick, there's evil, and we want to hide it behind the guise of mental illness. Some things are mental illnesses, and some things are just blatant evil. And I think these two instances, that's straight up evil. So
Agreed. Well, I am excited to say on a lighter note that this episode we're gonna be talking about working abroad while black, right? And with that being said, we got some amazing guests that we're gonna bring on today. So let's go ahead and bring in our guests, Tim and Kia. There are some amazing women, and I won't steal their thunder, but we're gonna bring them on and let them introduce themselves. Tia,
Hi.
Kim,
Thank you so much for having us.
how y'all doing? How y'all feeling?
Hi.
Feeling great, doing well.
Good. Doing good.
thank you for joining the Travel Hour, episode
Good.
7.
You know,
Then
I've been waiting for like this moment to be a part of this podcast. But prior to this podcast, like I just been waiting for it to come into fruition. So I'm just like really excited that you guys have this up and going and just putting out this information for, these Black wanderers, these Black nomads, these Black travelers, these Black inquisitive people that are out there that just want to, get that courage to travel and get out there. But we'll get into all that. I'm Kimberly. I'm coming all the way from Massachusetts. I am a special education teacher. I do focus on middle school. I'm getting my master's of in law and diplomacy at the Fletcher School. And my fields of study are gender and international analysis and business for social impact. So thank you for having me.
and she's a graduate of the Shaw University.
The Shaw University, and two class to you. And I don't know if we're gonna go into all the other acronyms, but I'm gonna just go pass it
Go
on to
ahead.
Tia, and then I'll pass it on.
Hi guys. I hope you can hear me clearly. My name is Tia. I'm a graduate of Bowie State University. I got my master's in instructional technology from Coastal Carolina, and I currently teach at an international school in Cairo, Egypt. This is my first year abroad. And just disclaimer, we're on the phone, we're on Cairo Wi-Fi, we're trying to make it happen. So we want to make sure we keep this quality. So I'm excited to be here. When I saw Matt started this podcast, I was like, yes, kudos. Let's make this happen. And I'm just happy to share my experience and just to chat with you guys today. So let's get it.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for joining us. We're excited. We're probably even more excited than you are to be here today. We love to see our fellow Black queens and kings out here doing great things, right? Whether it's education, whether it's traveling, whatever it is, we like to see everybody win. And so we appreciate you all for coming on and joining us. Let's
We
get into
don't mind, Matt, that Tia made the mistake and went to Bowie State, but we still love our Bulldogs because
the Lord forgives. Forgive her for she not know what she done.
Not the Lord.
We're not going there today. We're not going there today.
We see our when
was Shaw founded?
You know that
1865.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, we'll keep it cool because we were both founded in 1865. I won't break it down to months and days or like that. But let's be CIAA fam today. Can we do that? Can we do it for CIs? Let's do it for CIs, please.
All right. Respect your roots now.
Kudos to Bowie State because they were founded in 1865 as well. But as we know, Shaw University was the first HBCU founded in the Southern United States on December 1st, 1865. So we're glad to have y'all. We love y'all, and we gonna be one big happy family today. So
we're gonna be happy. We're gonna be big. We're gonna be family.
But no, I'm just so glad to have y'all here at the end of the day. Our smaller HBCUs don't always get the that our other larger schools get, and so just super glad to have you guys here today. Honestly.
Yeah, we appreciate it. We definitely do. But you're right. The larger schools do get more recognition than the smaller ones do. So thanks for putting that on the chopping block. And yes, as Tia said, we're going to all come in as a CIAA family and go from there. And
Right.
despite who was founded first, it's about this conversation that we're about to have. So Matt, you want to get into
Yeah.
Yes.
Speaking of
it?
first, shout out to Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. '06 to the Good Bros.
Oh, six.
Yeah, so let's get into our topic. So today we're talking about being black or being working abroad while being black or while black. And so the first thing we ask all of our guests, um, what what sparked your interest or your love in travel? And I'll let you all decide who's gonna go first.
I'll start off. I would say my love for travel probably first started when I was younger, going to family reunions and traveling up and down the East Coast to visit family in the summer. Our family usually gets together during the 4th of July, and there's some other family reunions that are in August and in July as well. So I feel like that sparked my love for travel. But it wasn't until high school that I was able to go on my first international trip with my English teacher. And we went to London during the Christmas season. And that was just like one of the best trips that I went on. And that just sparked my love for being able to travel internationally and seeing that it's possible. So I was grateful to have that experience. Um, and that's kind of where it all started for me. What about you, Kim?
Nice. So mine's is kind of along the same trajectory in regards to like that family connection. So my background, my parents are from the island of Antigua and Barbuda. And for the summer holidays, they started bringing us back to Antigua where we started getting involved with like the family, the culture, the land, the farms, the goats. The best part about going to Antigua. My uncle will always have you chase the goats. But so that's where my love for travel came from. It came from like the original roots of my family, and from that moment, I always knew that I want a career, a life abroad, and that has been like the trajectory that I've been taking. Every opportunity to go abroad, be it the Peace Corps, be it this fellowship, be it through family members or friends. I go at a drop of a dime. That my family these days are just like, I'm like, where's Carmen San Diego? How's things work with me right now? But that's where my love and my interest has come from in regards to like traveling and why I will continue to travel.
Dope, awesome. And I think I've had, well, I know I've had the pleasure of traveling with Kim. Um, and I, it was because of traveling, I guess you would say, that I met Tia. Of course, ours is church related. Because of going to
Yeah.
all the winter meeting conferences or the church meetings that we would have every December all across the country, right? And I think that
Yeah.
also, I know for me, that kind of also shaped my interest and love for traveling was going to these different meetings because it was in a different state each year.
Definitely.
And some of the friends that
Definitely.
we met, we only got to see once a year, even though Tia is a fellow South Carolinian. Oh man, so but I
The
think
shade.
we were able to really get to know each other from the winter meetings. And then with Kim, we both served in the Shaw U Jamaica Mine Project, where
Mm-hmm.
we did prostate cancer research
Yep.
at the University of the West Indies, Mona campus in Kingston, Jamaica
Mm-hmm.
for the summer. A lot of fun stories, a lot of fun times.
Yeah.
Um,
And
and I think
that,
that kind of set the trajectory too, especially like in our collegiate years.
yeah, for sure. And like just being exposed to doing research on the knowledge, attitude, and practices of men who have prostate cancer, just kind of like being able to walk with the people within the community and just try to get a glimpse of their daily lives. I think
Hmm.
that was also like a pivotal moment in regards to why when I do travel, I try to stay within the communities and I try to stay away from like hotels and like those areas. I try to like go local. because I just feel like it's more rich, and I feel like I got that from that Shaw University trip when we did that research on prostate cancer. So that's a good point.
Dope, definitely. So let's talk about working abroad. So let's where have you worked? Where are you working? I know you may have already mentioned, but we can say it again. And how long were you there? How long are you going to be there? What is that experience working abroad? And then we'll dive into what's that experience being Black and working abroad. We'll start with Kim.
All right, let's start with me. So, in regards to that question, where are some of the places that I visited? Right? Is that correct? That's the question, right? Okay, so
We can add that in there.
okay. Well, what was your original question? That's why active listening is so important. Can you ask your question again and just break it down for me step by step?
So where have you visited, and then where have you worked?
Okay, where have I visited and where have I worked? All right. I have visited I want to say off the top of my head, either 8 to 10 countries. That stems from Antigua, Jamaica, Tanzania, Senegal, Colombia, Egypt, Dubai, Denmark, just rapid fire, spitting them off the top of my head. So those are like the places that I've traveled so far.
Right?
I didn't get to do Asia just yet. Not yet. But I had planned to, but then COVID, changed my plans. And so, but those are the places that I've been to, and the places that I have worked at abroad happened to be Tanzania. So I was a Peace Corps volunteer. And if those of you who know about the Peace Corps, kudos to you. Those of you who don't, Peace Corps is a United States agency that works with other countries abroad and connects local communities with access to volunteers who are willing to learn about the culture and figure out what the community is asking of them to do that will better it. So we're not taking our knowledge and our background and our experience, expecting them to build a monument. We're more so, let me speak for myself. What I did was, because, all Peace Corps volunteer services is different. They expect us to go in there. They teach us these things about HIV. If you're a health worker, educator, you're doing like different curriculum building. If you're an agriculturalist, you're doing different things. And so they give us the basic knowledge, but what we do is a community entry report. And the community will kind of tell us like what's going on, what they think they need. And then we're supposed to assess ourselves as volunteers to help out as best we can. So I served in the Peace Corps for 2 years in Tanzania, East Africa, and the southern part. And on my 3rd year in Tanzania, I just say southern part like they don't need more respect than that. It was in Mtwara. It was Mwena. I love those kids over there. My favorite is Mamu. I could go on. You'll probably ask me stories about it, but I did a 3rd year and I ended up working for a girls empowerment NGO called AfriCaid, where I was an alumni program coordinator. But one of the best parts and like the highlights of that trip was that not only did my mother and sister come down, but also Joc visited me in Tanzania. And it was just a great connection with like people you love on 2 different continents, just coming together in one spot. And it was a great moment. It was an overwhelming moment too. There were times when I was in the house with my mom and she was like, "Oh, I'm not eating that," and I was just like, "Eat the food. Like you will not disrespect my Tanzanian family here and say you're not eating something." And then it was kind of like, "Oh, girl, back up a little bit. That's your mom." But it was just like, just being in just 2 different worlds at the same time. But that's where I've worked going forward. And speaking of the new places where I'll be, this is technically not new, but I'll be going back to Tanzania, East Africa this August, thank you, for a national security fellowship called the Bourne Fellowship, where for those of you who don't know, if you're interested in learning about languages and just your connection to national security and the people that are there, the Bourne Fellowship is a great avenue for you to get involved in that way, to learn a language that you will want to learn, that you feel will better your trajectory. So I'm going back to Tanzania to perfect my Swahili, so that I can further in conversations with my future aspirations to work for USA, the United States Agency of International Development, with East African partnerships, and just be just a force on that ground, not only for the United States, but for the East African countries. So that's my spiel.
Dope. Let us hear something in Swahili. What you got?
Okay. Niambie habari vipi. Like, I got it all. Like, tell me, mambo, yes, hoa, you already know. Like, I could have full conversations. I actually had a Swahili test to see where I was at, and she was asking me like specific things that I was just like, I do not know the names of each specific thing. But then when it was time for her to say, okay, what do you want to talk about? I had diarrhea from the mouth. Like, I was just like, niambie, aya, sawa, unaishi wapi? Sema. Like, it just kept going. So they put me in advanced Swahili classes because they know once they give me a little refresher, I'm gone.
That's it.
Yeah.
What about you, Tia?
First, let me give my sis her props, because the passion that she just spoke with about what she wants to do is inspiring. I would say that my journey here was definitely like basically proving to myself that I can do the things that I want to do, or the things that I dream of doing, and that nothing is too hard with God to achieve. So I started probably when I first graduated from college, thinking about going somewhere else to teach. I went to school in Maryland from South Carolina, like Matt said, we're both from South Carolina. And I had a cousin who had just got her counseling degree and was like, let's go teach in Alaska. And I was like, Alaska? Okay, let's see. Nothing ever came of it. But that kind of first, again, thinking about influences of travel, I've had family in the Peace Corps, family work in different countries or travel in the military. Just I've seen that, and it kind of made it real for me, like it's attainable. But I've always wanted to teach abroad, and I had some friends who went abroad to Abu Dhabi and Dubai. And I had finally gotten to a point last year, so November 2020. Well, no, the year before that, because that was 2021. 2020, November 2020, where I was kind of feeling stuck at the place I was, not feeling any growth. I had finished my master's in 2017 and been working in a new role, coaching for technology and mathematics in the elementary school. And I loved that job. But I just felt like I wasn't getting what I needed. And so that's when I was like, I wanted to do this. I turned 30 last year. So that was before I turned 30. I was like, I'm turning 30. I need to go ahead. Yeah, let me just go ahead and make this move. So I went through an agency called Search Associates. I asked around first to see kind of where my friends had gone, how they got in their jobs abroad. And I went through Search Associates. And the funny thing is, I think a year before I had started an application with them. But the thing is, when you start an application, you have to have references from previous schools. You have to have, it's really, you have to be serious about it. And so I had started the application and never finished it. And so when I went to log in again, it was like, you need to send us an email because your application has been closed because you were inactive. And I was like, okay, let me get serious. And then the more serious I got, I was like, okay. And I was really nervous about having a conversation with my principal and with my former principals, like to reach out to them about references and things of that nature. But I was just like, let's do it. My sister pushed me really and said, let's set a date for you to finish this application because you've been talking about this forever. Right. You've been putting it off to the side. So December 1st, I finished the application, and December 12th, I did a virtual job fair. And the way that worked was they had a portal set up where you could send your information to schools, or schools could request to interview with you. And I wanted to move to Abu Dhabi or Dubai. I wanted to be in the Emirates. I wanted to live over there because I had visited Dubai before in Abu Dhabi, and I was like, let me go somewhere I know that what it looks like.
Right.
But none of those schools got back to me. And I was like, okay. But then I got requests from schools in Kuwait and a school in Egypt. And so that did the interviews, and it was a really quick turnaround. Like I said, finished the application December 1st, started my job fair, and the schools in Kuwait, I will say this, I did start searching people on YouTube and Instagram, on social media, like Black people in Kuwait, Black women in, like, to see where, if there was content created already, if people were there, have they talking about their experience, just so I could get an idea, which, you know, years, not even 10 years ago, there probably wasn't even any content available as much as it is now with Black women traveling, just Black people abroad in general. So did all that, and I felt really good about my interview at the school that I'm at now. And when they sent me my offer letter, I had maybe a week to confirm. I think it was Christmas Eve. It was December 24th where they sent me the offer letter. And I was like, they said by December 28th, we need to know. So that wasn't even a week. We need to know if you are going to accept this offer. And I talked with my associate, my mentor in the program, and he was just like, you know, Egypt is not everybody's first choice. It is a different kind of placement, but you know, you'll get IB experience, which was something that I didn't have because I taught in public schools, and none of the schools were IB, so I didn't have that experience. And so I was able to talk to some teachers there, talk to some other expats, and just come to the decision that if this is something that I want to do, I just got to go for it. And I accepted the offer, and I have been here since August, and I have a 2-year contract. And yeah, I think that's it.
Awesome.
Yeah, no, that's really good. It sounds like it was like December 1st, December 24th, December 28th. So there was like a little bit of a limbo of a waiting game in between, but that was like not too long. But then everything was like expedited, and I'm just happy you stepped out on faith, and just like when they pushed you, you even said like, "Oh, that's not a push. Like, I'll do it," and just kind of like leaned on God. I feel like you leaned on God in that instance, and you seem like a woman of faith. So that's great.
Let me just give this testimony quick.
Yes.
When I first got here, so this is a Muslim country. Their language is Arabic, and like things that you don't think of when you're moving to another country. And when I tell you, as soon as I got here, I was ready to go. I was like, I will leave all the bags that I brought. They can have all my stuff. Please send me back to Charlotte, because what did I get myself into? And I was literally in a space where I couldn't figure out like how to get out of. It was definitely, I would say, like a depression, a homesickness, culture shock, all like put together in one. And I could tell in my journaling, just I was really sitting down. I had to get it out. I was in therapy, and that, just to plug that, I started therapy, bless you, because I wanted to prepare myself for this transition. And realize that there were other things going on in my life that I needed to kind of work through as well. But when people ask me, oh, I want to move abroad, I want to do this, I want to do that, you have to really consider a lot more than just, I just want to get out of the country. I want to leave America.
It's a lot
That's
more
it.
than the moving.
I just want to leave.
So the moving is the
It's
easy
so
part.
much. It's so much more. When I first, landed, they met me, got my visa and everything secured, and the guy, spoke English, so he's helping me get through security. And the driver, he was like, "Hey, this is the driver who's going to take you to your apartment." And I was like, "Okay." So we're taking my bags. Cairo Airport is chaotic.
Ooh,
Yeah.
the jungle.
You have to.
And it's
It's
so
a lot.
far.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually want to wait till you're finished with your testimony because I got a Egypt airport Cairo story, and it's go ahead.
Listen, so that was, getting my stuff, and I'm trying to tell the guy, he has a small car. Like there aren't a lot of like SUVs and trucks, and most people drive sedan, like compact cars. So I have 4 huge suitcases, and he's trying to fit them in the trunk of his car, and I'm just like, "Hey, we can put 2 in the trunk and then like 2 in the back seat." And the man was like, "No English." I was like, "We could put 2, 1, 2 here, 2 in the trunk." And that was kind of the first. I was like, "Oh Lord, help me." I was like, "I don't know where I'm going. I don't know where the place is." So I'm just like, "Okay, God, I trust you to get me to my location. I hope the person is there." And I landed probably 10 or 11 p.m. And I feel like coming in the dark.
Yeah.
Coming in the dark and not being able to see, and it's dusty and it's hot, and I'm sure y'all, all of you have the Cairo airport story, so the driving.
Yeah.
The roads. It's a whole nother story. So I really have grown from my first week here of being ready to leave it all. And it was definitely a faith thing. I don't see where I'm going, but God, you got me. You have to have
literally.
Me,
you don't see where you're going. Literally.
That's the only way that this.
And spiritually.
This is how all of it. So please, let's tell your Cairo stories.
You know what? I'll just keep it brief to say I too arrived at night, and my visa and process was super expedited. That kind of gave me red flags in regards to why is this process moving so fast and then getting through customs so fast. So it was alarming to me. I travel with a Peace Corps volunteer, Maggie, my girl. Good thing I did because we spoke Swahili to talk about the uncertainties and the things that we weren't feeling good about. But also we had to be cognizant of the words we use in Swahili because Swahili has a good chunk of Arabic in it. And so we were able to pick up on what they were saying to us, as well as they pick up on what we were saying. So we kind of had to move from Swahili to Spanish and like mix it up. And good thing she also knew Spanish. So languages are important. Be a linguist.
Right.
But everything happened so fast. We let the taxi guy know where we're going. He drove us all the way to our Airbnb. Our Airbnb was across from the university. And it was just really dark. It was like 2:00 in the morning or so. And we were just like so unsure. And the guy was like, "Well, I'll bring you to a 5-star hotel next to everything." Only thing I heard was dum 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 dum. Like, we gotta get out of here. Like, this man dropped us off at this place that looked like a brothel. There was just like women outside that were just dressed so inappropriately, given the culture in Egypt too. So it was just so alarming. I was like, we might be sex trafficked. Like, this is the reality of it. So we had to start thinking about, and that could not have been the reality of it. We were thinking the worst. Yeah. Just given like 2:00 a.m., you got women who will be only 2 things open, McDonald's and there was no McDonald's around there. So what's your next option? And there was like a metal detector that we had to walk through, and the women were just looking at us, and I was just like, wow. like we really screwed up. And we're in a country where we don't know anybody. And good thing we applied to this like STEP program, which is just like a US government program where when you travel, you let them know where you're going. So just in case anything hits the fan, this is where you said you were going to be. Yeah. So anyway, so when we got into the room, the first thing that we did was barricade the doors. Like we moved the dresser and the fridge in front of the doors because the handle already looked like, I said a short and sweet story, but I'm keep talking. But the handle already looked, you know, like somebody already kicked the door down. We were like, oh, let's see what kind of view we had. Open the windows, straight bricks. Like the bathtub, it was just a scary experience. And so I just started like calling some friends back in the US, some who worked in like the hotel industry. And I was like, I need to get out of here. Can you get me out of here? And he was like, yep. Found us a spot. We booked it. And on top of that, I went to Copenhagen before, got pickpocketed, had to get an emergency visa. And so, and that had my, you know, credit cards, debit cards, my passport. I was just SOL, messaged another friend, listen, I need X amount of money. Can you do it? She did it. And we were out. We were gone. And I just want to tell y'all, if you want to travel, make sure you got friends that got pockets. Make sure you got friends that also got connections, because that was a lot for us. And in that moment, I needed friends with deep pockets and connections, and we needed to get out of there. And we did. We didn't sleep. We waited until like the first taxi was like buzzing and we could hear it. And we went downstairs. We just left, like we were gone. And then we ended up being on a resort, which made it all the better. So
yeah,
I still advocate for being local and going into the communities with the people. I still advocate for all that. But again, just kind of like make sure you look at your itineraries to see like what time you're actually going to arrive, so that you're putting yourself in a good position, so that you're not arriving in the dark and feeling also in the dark because of the language and the people and the direction. So just kind of like make sure you actually look at that in the itinerary. But that was my story.
yeah.
I said it was short. It was kind of long. I apologize.
Yeah, Cairo Airport is definitely not a joke. That's like we flew in at night too. I think it was like 11 something when we landed. Luckily we had like a tour guide, but the whole visa process was a thing. Bags never made it to Egypt. It made it the day our bags made it to Cairo. The day it was time for us to go back to the States.
Okay.
And
No,
it's
not okay.
Like I was hurt.
I was gonna let them have it this trip.
Hurt.
Bought new clothes, everything. Their bag ain't get there till Sunday. We'll leave Sunday night.
I was gonna say you had fresh, garments for Sunday, so
I had a
you
pair
were
of
prepared
shorts
for the next trip.
We also had a mall
for 5 days, so it was tough. And I think like I like the fact that you guys point out that there's going to be some bumps and nicks when you travel at the end of the day. And I think a lot of times like we get caught up in folks see the Instagram pictures and the Facebook posts and the reels, and it's like, oh, that looks so amazing. You ain't see the rocky roads. You had to go down 3 miles. The van about to tip off the side of the mountain to get up there to the waterfall to get the picture right. You
see that turbulence we had to go through. You didn't
see the turbulence flying in, and it's just like, we don't know if we're gonna make it. So I think with that being said, it's like I'm so glad that Tia and Kim, like you guys both share like the nitty gritty in between time, right? But then also talking about, wow, like I'm making this commitment, I'm going. And even Kim, you and I had talks about leading up to you going to the Peace Corps. Was like, Kim, you got to do this. Like, you got to do this. Like, I know this is what you're supposed to be doing, right? So, like, whatever I can do, like, I'm gonna be on your behind, And I would call and check in, like, Kim, where we at? Are you going? What's up?
Yeah.
Like,
I actually remember that conversation. Like, I was on the phone with you, and you was like, "You're content, move." Like, I was just like, ah.
Wow.
And I was actually working for that political agency and the Secretary of State of North Carolina and the judges and all that type of stuff. But it was good political work. But I was talking to Joc. I'm so close to calling you your nickname. Okay, I was so close to talking. I was like on the phone with Ziggy, and I was just like, this is what's going on here. This is what like I want to do. And like we talked about it and fleshed it out. And then when you told me clear as day, like, yeah, no, you're complacent, you're content with this, I was just like, whoo, that hurt my soul, because I was like, I never wanted to be in a position where I'm not happy at, to be content and complacent in. So when we were talking about it, I was like, there's just more to me. I always wanted to do the Peace Corps. So when I got the encouragement to like jump, and I did it. So thanks, Ziggy.
I'm so glad you took that leap, because like I had the opportunity to then come to Tanzania, which I still, on the places that I've been, I still never seen more beautiful water than what I've seen in Nungwi, in Zanzibar. Like we talk about the continent of Africa, but when we talk about what these countries have to offer, when we go to Cairo, it's crazy. I can't explain it, right? To go to Cairo and actually see these pyramids and be like, how in the world did people who look like us build this back in the day, right? To go to Tanzania and Nungwi and people say, hey, like, all of Africa's poor, and it's like, definitely not. And you go there and you just see the natural resources and the things that are there, and our people that are thriving in the culture. And so, talk to what I want to ask y'all, because y'all got to talk to us about taking that leap. Like, what did that mean to you? Like, what was your adjustment period like? What did you struggle with? Like, okay, cool, I'm here, I'm on a different time zone, I can't call mama all the time, I can't call family, and I've got to figure it out. So what did that look like as far as like that process of working through and like figuring it out while you guys were there and building your community while you were in the places that you were?
Can I add something to that question too? What was that process like, even when you may not have gotten the support from your friends and family, when they didn't understand why you would pick up and move so far away?
I would say that starting off with building my community, going back to I definitely started praying a little bit more about the situation. And like, God, get my people together. Like, who do I need? Like, create this space. And that was definitely, I feel like, strengthened my relationship, because I had never, like, I don't want to say really asked for anything or really needed anything, but like this was something that I needed. Like, I need people in this space so that I can grow and I can feel comfortable. And the craziest thing happened when I had my going away party. I had some friends come down. One of my friends from Houston came and, posted our picture. My friend's moving to Cairo. Like, we wish her the best. And one of his friends was like, hey, I have a friend who is in Cairo. They should connect. So I connected with my friend Tiara, and probably, I think the first week I met with her, I connected with somebody on Instagram, like, hey, I'm moving out there soon. I would love to, get hook up when we get there, just figure things out. And that started my community. The school set me up, I could talk to one of the teachers, but again, I'm looking for people that look like me. Not to say that, my school community is a good community, but I also want, outside of school to grow as well. So that was a blessing for me to be able to connect with somebody before I got there. So we started talking before I even moved, and I'm asking all kinds of questions about how I need to prepare for the move. And I will say, with my placement, the school, the first day I got here, the housing director, showed me through the apartment, and they sent me pictures before, because I was really adamant about, hey, can you send me pictures of what this apartment looks like before I move? Because I need to see that. Can you send me pictures of what it looks like? Because it was options, I think either a 1 to like 3 bedrooms. And so I was like, hey, can I see what that, that'll help me be a little bit more calm to see what my housing looks like. So once they're able to show that to me, pictures don't do anything justice. It just gives you, I know it's clean, I know it's spacious. And so y'all been to Cairo, on the outsides of the buildings, it does not look very nice, but the inside, phenomenal.
Yeah.
And so I was able to see that, get here, and I think the next day the school had like an itinerary for us the first week. They have like a teacher at the school who'll come, they'll show you kind of around, a bus, a little van will come and pick you up and tell you, so here's the grocery store here. I think I got a SIM card the first day. Just showing other places, like here's the area. And I think, where were we? I think we're at Vodafone. getting a SIM card for my phone. And I cried sitting in there, because again, I don't speak the language, so the teacher from the school was helping translate and get everything for me, and I was just so overwhelmed. It's like, okay, we need to get a copy of your passport, it's going to be this much money, so I mean, have exchange money, just all these things going on at once, and I was like, I don't know if I can do this. It's so much happening. And we go to the grocery store. She's like, "Oh, do you need to buy anything?" And I'm just like, "No, I'm okay." I couldn't think clearly about the stuff I needed. Just like, okay, take it in, take it all in, take it all in. Showing me different places. And I think the second day they provided transportation for us, and we went to the mall, Cairo Festival Mall, to like, there's an IKEA. There are a lot of, different stores. There's a Carrefour. It's like a Walmart. And so when I was kind of ready, I didn't have that transportation that the school was giving every day. And I was like, how do I get around here? And there's Uber. Uber's not everywhere, but there's Uber. And I was able to connect to my Uber account. And that was, I kind of made a list of, here, I got to step outside of my box, things like checkbox things to do in this new space, because I didn't want to leave. The elevators here don't look like regular elevators. Like when there's a door opens, and then when you close, you see like the inside. When we get in the elevators in the States at home, it closes. You don't see the walls. You don't see the different floors. So when I got here and I went through the elevator, so my building has an even floor elevator and an odd floor elevator. So the BOA, which is like the doorman, he gets in one elevator with my luggage, with two of the luggage bags, and goes up on the even. And then the housing director gets in the odd with me. He's like, "We're going to go up to the 11th floor, and then we're going to walk down to the 10th floor, because that's where your apartment is." And it's like, okay. And it's a very small space. And then he closes the door. And we started going up. I see cement, then a door. And I was like, oh, what is this? And that scared me. I was like, oh, I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving. And so my friend Tiara, she was like, I'll come. There's a area near where I live called the Courtyard. And it's got a gym, it's got restaurants, it's got all kinds of things. So it's a nice updated area. So she was like, I'll come to your side. And I recorded myself. Okay, y'all, this is the first time I'm leaving the apartment by myself to walk across the street. And there's no, there are sidewalks, but everybody walks in the street.
It's
walking across. Trying to walk across. I was like, let me record this. I don't want to get hit by anything. Let me make this, check this off my list.
That's
so I'm like, okay, let me get across there.
I want to cross the street so I don't get hit, but let me record as I walk across the street.
Yes, so this is where I'm going. Have to record this moment. And that was like my first checkbox experience. And so then one of the girls I met off of Instagram, she was actually moving to another country, and I was still kind of in my shell. I think she had like a going away party or something, but I wasn't leaving. So I was just like, okay, good luck. I hope, maybe to see you. So she connected me with someone else, and they came in an Uber to pick me up for us to go out to eat to like a Mexican restaurant, I think. And so she was like, I'm going to get groceries. Do you want to ride with me? I'm like, sure. I need groceries. I haven't gotten anything yet. And so that got me used to the Uber experience. I know Arabic for Uber, like I could say left, right, and straight, and stop. So that was another like checkbox experience. I was like, okay, I can take Uber by myself. But again, I think you were talking about like driving around. We went out one night and I'm coming home and the driver like stops and I'm like, this is not where I live. And they'll ask you before they start, like, where are you going? And I'm just thinking, whatever I put in here, but it doesn't show them till they accept the ride. So that's a very common thing here. Instead of just accepting the ride, they'll ask you where you're going first. Sometimes they'll cancel. I've had people cancel my Ubers. I've had them go different ways or drop me off at different places that are not the GPS destination. So those are just like some of the things. But again, it forces you to learn your surroundings. It forces you to kind of figure out where you're going. And it took me probably, I think I was here 2 or 3 weeks before school started, so I hadn't gotten in the school routine yet. So I was checking off kind of daily small things, figuring out, walking around in my neighborhood. There's like a fruit and vegetable stand, there's a grocery store, figuring out how to pay the internet bill, pay for my cell phone, do those different things. So I had to check those off, and I journaled, and that kind of helped me figure out how to get settled. And it's funny because sometimes when I talk to my family and I'm smiling, I'm happy, they're like, "Ooh, you come a long way." Because when you first got there, we didn't think you was gonna make it. And I'm like, y'all don't have to keep reminding me. I know. But sometimes we kind of, I feel like, diminish the growth that we've accomplished and not try to, I'm good. But no, sis, you weren't good. You weren't good. You've made progress. You've shown strength. You've shown patience, and you don't realize how many people are learning from, are growing from, or inspired by your willingness, your courage. And that's something that I've learned too, that not to downplay what I've experienced. So I feel like I probably went too long, but go ahead. That's how I kind of
was good.
got
We
it together.
enjoyed it.
Yeah, I actually really like how you did a list of things to actually push you to be proactive. Like, I think that's like really cool, and that's like a tip for, probably soloists or people who are going in a group. Like, just kind of write down the things that you feel uncomfortable to do in regards to, like, get in a taxi and give them directions. That's like something that you may feel uncomfortable, or speaking to a fruit stand person, that may be something you might be uncomfortable doing. So just kind of like writing those things down and what you can try to do to make yourself acclimate and get comfortable. I think that's actually a fair, cool tip that, people should hear about. So yeah.
I think that's definitely awesome, how you are pushing yourself to, try new things, and it's just gonna be even more amazing, right? To see where you are in like 3 months from now, 6 months from now, when you know more than just left, right, stop,
right,
and go, right? It's just gonna be
2 words,
cool, right?
You know my words. I know la, and I know shukran. That's it. Thank you. You gotta look like Cairo. You gotta be la. You keep it moving, like
yeah.
So yeah, so I'm excited to see how that experience goes. We're gonna get to Kim as well, but I want us to kind of pivot into talking about what it's like being Black and working in those settings, right? I know it may be a little different depending on, I mean, both of you all are working and have worked in Africa, but Africa is so vast and so different, and each country differs from the next. So what has your experience being Black and working abroad?
So it's interesting because some people may think on the offset or onset of things, because you're Black and you're going into a Black place, that everything is going to be smooth and peachy keen. And that's not the case, because like we still have like our differences. So I'm going to speak on my experience as a Peace Corps volunteer and working there as a Black person, and then speaking upon me working in a program director position. So just a little bit different dichotomy. So when working there as a Peace Corps volunteer, initially they thought I was a Kenyan because my Swahili was not good. I'm not saying all Kenyans out there have bad Swahili, but the Tanzanians thought I was Kenyan. And that was actually outside of my first experience in middle school here in the United States. that was my second experience ever being called a nigger. And I was taken aback from that, but understand that the people there are not doing it maliciously. It's just things that they're hearing. So working there in that space and having being heard, like hearing that word 2 to 3 times being spoken at me and to me, it just kind of like took me aback, but put me in a position where I had my language facilitator with me, where I could just kind of explain, like, I understand you've heard this, but let me actually put you up on game a little bit. You know what I mean? So I had to do that in like a couple of instances and just kind of like explain things because, and the way that was able to do it, I actually used the Swahili language because what I was told in regards to Swahili, whenever somebody says shikamo and you respond marahaba, in literal translation, like your marahaba is like telling that elder, that person, or whoever it is. It was for like the Arabics and the kings, and whenever the servant would see them, they'll say shikamo, which is respect, and then they'll say marahaba, which means you are beneath me. So, and that word in history was a derogatory way, but they switched it and they transitioned it to where it's a term of endearment. It's a respect thing where you use it. So I kind of just explained the history of the ER to the A to the AH, however you want to kind of drop it down. So my experience as a Peace Corps volunteer was an interesting one. And it was actually the reason why I got the name Beyonce, because I was explaining a little history and the Black people around there. And then the guy was like, "So you like Beyonce?" And I took it. I was like, "Yeah." And then I just, been Beyonce the whole trip. But so experience in that light, being a Black person, I was also the first and only Black American that my village has ever seen, and the first Peace Corps volunteer. So everything was just a learning process all over again. I still was, looked at under a microscope. My hair was touched, my everything, but they included me. They included me in everything. So that was that experience as a Peace Corps volunteer. And then as a program coordinator, was none of that. I was in Arusha, I was in the North, and I got a lot of respect because I was from the United States, and they were just assuming that I was just like this savior of a person because of that history too, and that white savior complex, that goes on in like Western countries, that I was just gonna just put them on my back and just charge and lead this organization. And I was able to develop these cool things, but no, I am not the expert. So I still want you guys to be involved in this process. So it was kind of just an understanding in regards to like, I'm not an expert just because I'm from a Western country. We're here to do it together. So it's kind of like still like a power shift that you just have to recognize. And I think it's important for people to check themselves and let the others know, like, this is not a power thing. I'm not higher than you. I'm not beneath you. We're here and we're going to work for like our greater good. So that was my experience in regards to being Black and working out there and just having just like minor hiccups that just needed to be explained. But after that, that community aspect really was able to be nurtured. So that was my experience.
Oh. How about you, Tia? How's it been being Black, working in Cairo? I know the school that you work in is in New Cairo, and so I don't know what the difference may be if there is any. I know when we were there, they were still building up New Cairo, but yeah. So how has it been working in Egypt?
I would say first that the international school that I'm in is mostly Egyptian students. There are other international schools like CAC or AIS or American International School or Cairo American College that have a more diverse student population. I don't say diverse student and staff population, but I feel I've noticed that there's a smaller expat population teacher-wise. And I thought I was going in as the only Black person, but I soon realized that there was someone else that looked like me in the grade 1 grade 1 team, and she has been there for I think 15 years. I don't remember where she's from, but once we finally connected with each other, she was just like, somebody that looks like me. And I'm like, yes, somebody that looks like me. And we even took it as far as, I went to visit her class one day and her kids were like, are you sisters? And we're like, yeah, we're sisters. And so I guess she told them a story. So they were like, why did you both ride the bike down the hill together instead of riding? And I was just like, I don't know. We just thought it was fun. And it was so funny because the kids just thought we were sisters. Like, we just thought, yeah, we're sisters. And so anytime they see me at school, they're like, hey, so-and-so sister. Hey, hi. I'm like, okay, yeah, let's go with that. So that kind of helped me connect with somebody, but I don't get to see her all the time or talk to her all the time. But as far as, I feel like sometimes it gets a little lonely, but I do have another teammate who is from New Jersey, but she's Egyptian and she does speak Arabic. So that's just different because sometimes, their first language is Arabic. And so most of the time when they're speaking to each other, sometimes they speak in English and sometimes they speak in Arabic. So it's just kind of finding that balance and still kind of integrate at the same time and trying to learn some too. Because I felt like sometimes maybe, man, I can't talk all the time. Because, when you're, in the States, you talk, it's nothing to just have a conversation and listen in and chime in. But you can't always do that when you don't understand when people are speaking a different language. So that's just something I had to get used to. And again, it's a learning curve, but I feel like I've been able to show the students diversity, show them Black American, show them just the difference. And like she said about touching hair, I get my hair braided sometimes I wear my natural hair. And the hair touching, which I don't mind. They're like, your hair is so pretty. I had one little girl who's like, let's switch hairstyles. She was like, how did you get your hair so long? So it's never been like a negative thing. And so Egyptian's hair is really curly too. And I've actually gotten my hair cut at a curly studio here, but just seeing the similarities. And I actually got to speak with a grade 5 class who was doing a project on immigrants. And so that was kind of a shock for me at first because I was like, whoa, that is right. I moved from a place where I was to a new country. So I am considered an immigrant. And so they were asking about, why I decided to move, what I've experienced, how I feel. And I told them just kind of like I'm telling you guys here, I feel like I'm giving a face to some people. When I joined my gym, giving a face, just showing people that I'm here. I did have an experience today where walking out from the gym and one of the guys was just staring at me. And so I felt uncomfortable at first. And then I started staring back like, hey, I'm here. Like, I'm human. You don't have to stare. So I think it's giving a face and it's helping to show diversity. And also some of the kids talk, about what's going on in your country, Miss Tia. Which country do you like better? So just giving them access and asking. They want to know a lot about where I'm from. They want me to take pictures when I go home. So just giving them really that international portion of their schooling and helping them kind of see what I'm about, see who I am. And they even go so far, and I'm from South Carolina. I don't think I have a thick Southern accent, but they love to mimic the way that I talk.
It's there.
So
twang.
It's funny. It's so funny to me. And I try not to let it get on my nerves. I'm like, they're just kids. I'm like, okay, y'all, I don't sound like that. I don't sound like that. I don't sound like that. But they're like, yes. So even the way that I say some of their names is funny to them. So I think just giving them an experience and helping them connect the dots and see similarities and also respect differences, especially through the faith realm, because we do prayer in school. And so I don't know all the ins and outs of that, So I'm learning as well, and also trying to, help facilitate that and learn. So I think working has been an eye opener for me, and I think as well as the staff, and everybody there is just welcoming. Everybody is just really welcoming.
Can I just add on like two things to like what you said, because I really appreciate how you said like I went there to show face, like not to just say like look at me, I'm here, but also to use my voice and be empowered to be like, yeah, I'm here. Hey, how you doing? So that they can like get to know you. And when I went and traveled to Egypt, I got the stares, and they even asked me if I was part of this other part of Egypt. And like I said, the Arabic I was picking up, so they were like, oh no, you're Egyptian. And I was like, no. I got people that wanted to take pictures with me. Like I felt like it was like traveling while Black and being that Black face that they, and it's so interesting because like we're going back to Africa where this Black beauty and this came from. And it's kind of like, but when they see it, we got to understand, yes, of course, there's like different variations of Black, but it's so interesting to hear the term, like, I was looking for someone who looks like me. And it's kind of like, oh, Africa? You was looking for someone that looks like you? But no, for real. Like there's so many different pigmentations, and especially depending on where you're working at in Egypt, you will have that fair skin. And so, you do have to look for someone that looks like you. And then on top of that, I love how you own the fact that you are an immigrant, because and based off of my experiences and in my, diplomatic classes at Tufts University's Fletcher School, we have a lot of conversations around like how Westerners do travel, but they call themselves expats. And expats is a more vivacious name that gives you more of like a high self-esteem compared to being an immigrant. But if it was another person that was not of the European descent that was there, they're not going to call the ones who are not of European descent that are there, they are so quick to be called an immigrant instead of being called an expat. And so it's just like the lavish terms that they give based off of your skin color, even though you're coming from like the US to Tanzania, we're not expats, we're immigrants, and that's what we are. But there's no floweriness in being called an immigrant. And it's just like, you have to understand the words and the play on words, especially when Westerners do travel and how they do coin themselves when they are in these spaces. And like you really get to see like the systems of traveling and the luxury of traveling based off of what you're called. So well, in fact, you are the immigrant, and the kids were definitely correct by identifying that. Even though some people will be like, oh, I'm not an immigrant, I'm an expatriate.
Yeah.
You're an immigrant, okay?
You're not from here.
Right.
You don't even go here.
Yes.
I love the fact that you said that, Kim, because you bring up a great point. As Westerners and as Americans, particularly when we travel, we've got to do a better job of challenging ourselves to immerse ourselves in the culture that we're entering into.
Also, and to not call yourself an American when you're out there in your travel. You're from the United States. You're not from South America. You're from North America. So we also too got to not say, I'm American and the Americans, we do this. No, you can't embody South, North, and South. You can't. I'm from the United States. And that's also too, that has to be like put in, or just say I'm from Boston. Oh, where's that? Oh, it's in the US. Because we're so easy to just coin American, but we're also taking on South Americans when we say like, oh no, I'm American. The Americans can do this.
Taking on Canada and Mexico too when we talk, just say American.
So we got to be like specific and like check our biases. But go ahead and take this. This is a travel hour, y'all.
You real.
Listen,
I appreciate it.
Y'all have made our job very easy today.
Listen, because these well traveled women, but at the end of the day, like it was weird for me even telling people I was from America. So I started saying the States as I kind of evolved over time, but there's still a disconnection with me in the United States because I'm Black, right? I get treated like a second-class citizen in the country that I'm from, and I go somewhere else and somebody's looking at me like like you live in the United States. And
I'm just asking you why do you stay there and they treat you so bad? That's one question that I get a lot. Like when we travel abroad.
To be from there? No.
Right.
So it's an interesting dynamic, and I think that I always challenge folks because, and I had to come to, I had my come to Jesus moment in Tanzania because, I went over there with this westernized mindset where it's like, oh, they coming to serve me. I'm here. Like, you don't speak no English. What's wrong with you? Or, and I can even talk about like the situation where we were out to eat and Kim was looking at me like I'm crazy. Which, I give Kim kudos for putting up with me because I was bougie.
Mm-hmm.
I'm bougie. I'm not doing this.
So I just paid my money to be on this
I
flight.
didn't say it.
And Kim was just like, she's like, bro, like you gotta chill. Like when we go in here, like it might be a rock in the rice. Just chew it or swallow it or spit it out when they ain't looking. But don't be able to tell. I just chewed a rock in the rice. I'm like, all right. So we had got to the restaurant, and we took a little while to travel to get back there. And so we're eating the chicken wings. I ordered the chicken wings, and so it's supposed to be like American style food and United States style food. And so they bring out the chicken wings. I'm like, man, these chicken wings are small. Like, I don't even want this, bro. And Kim just like looks at me and is like, are you serious right now? And I'm like, what you
from
mean?
A real chicken. That's why it's
she
small.
was like, she said, Ziggy, do you know that you're in somebody else's country and they are busting their behinds to make sure that you have a great experience and give you top-notch service, and you pick this time in front of them to try to defile their country in front of their face? Like, she's like, that's very disrespectful. And I just sat there and I'm like, I got a little attitude at this point. I'm like, whatever. But on the plane ride back, I had a long time to reflect. And what I walked away was that, when you have to be cognizant of how you enter spaces,
mm-hmm.
And you have to be used to things being different and things being changing, but you've got to try. You got to try. People like see you trying to speak the language, they're going to work with you. If they see you, coming to a place humbly and not just saying, I got money and I can do this and that, they don't respect you. And so that was one of the biggest takeaways, just understanding how do we enter these spaces. And that, number two, there's life outside of resorts when we travel.
Yeah.
I don't prefer resorts anymore because I like to be amongst the people in the culture. And I think that is so important because you want to walk away from that country having learned something and also having given something back as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I just wanted to say on that note too, Zig, like they're giving you their best, and their best is being compared to what you had before. And one of the key things that the Peace Corps has taught us and said, it was a quote, I forget who quoted it, but it's comparison is the thief of joy.
Yeah.
So when I saw you doing that in the moment, I was just like, no, you ain't. No, you ain't, and you ain't gonna disrespect my people here either. I love you, but I'm telling you this out of love, and this is for you to really enjoy this trip. If you compare things, you're not gonna enjoy it.
Yeah.
That's just that.
That was her exact face when she got on me too at the table, y'all. I'm just
I think that's a very valid point, right? You got to let go when you're traveling. And I think the more you do travel, the Egypt you have to let go of those expectations that you have, right? What you get at home may not be what you're going to get other places, especially if you're not staying on a resort. The resorts kind of cater more to the Western way, if you will, but you have to let go of those expectations. And just like Joc said, people are very nice when you out and travel, right? I know you still got to be aware of your surroundings, but more times than not, the people are gonna be nice. I remember even when I went to China, I don't know nothing. All I know is ni hao. That's all I know. And we was trying to get to the Pearl Mark, and our taxi driver was kind enough to kind of teach us certain words we needed to know, like once we got there, right? And you gotta let go of those expectations. And you just gotta be willing to be teachable, willing to open yourselves to try something new, to learn something. And your experience will be better, but you'll also gain a better appreciation for the place that you're visiting, right? And the people that you're encountering. And that way, even when they do bring some small chicken wings, you like, okay, let me reassess the situation. But yeah,
and that's constant. Like you have to continue to like check yourself. Because it's so easy to fall back like, man, this is not. I find myself sometimes complaining and just like, you're okay. I used to think that I needed a lot of different things. I gotta bring this with me. I need this. I need this. One of the things was bacon. I was like, what am
That's fine.
I gonna do
That's a
without
swine.
bacon?
Oh yeah, you ain't get none of that.
I can't buy pork bacon. I mean, you can get pork bacon here, but it's not as easy as going to the grocery store and picking it up. And I've lived with yes. I thought I'm not gonna have bacon really, but it really you eat what you and it just again it's different foods. It's not always my favorite. Forced me to cook some more to learn some different recipes.
Yep.
But I've learned like love 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 trying the new things and making sure that I'm getting the experience and not shying away from those um, things that I might not normally eat or not normally do.
Yeah, and just finding a love for something else. Like my thing that I was looking for was Snickers to have the right amount of diabetes, the right amount of sugar, the right amount of caramel, all of that. Then when I ate a Tanzanian Snicker bar, it's too healthy for me. Like it didn't have all that sugar, so I stopped eating it, and then I switched to find like another kind of sweet dessert, and it was like this dope ice cream bar that's kind of like I forget who. Not going to shout out any kind of name brand or anything like that, but it was a great obstacle. And so now when I'm back in the U.S., I don't even really get Snickers. It's like a here and there thing, and it's me now trying to get the Tanzanian flavor of the Snicker. So it's interesting how the roles reverse, but definitely open yourself up to trying new things and finding new loves of food that are there. So that's great.
Awesome. So I know the hour is far spent, as they would say. But I do want us to kind of close, and then we'll get to our wandering tip of the week. And but given your experience, being black and working abroad, being well traveled, why would you say that it is important for more black people to consider working abroad or to even just travel abroad, period, or getting to travel, period? Some people may not be able to travel abroad right now, but just to start somewhere.
Yeah, I'll keep it brief in my response. The world is our backyard. Everything that happens here in the U.S. affects what's going on over there, vice versa. And the reason why we should travel and have more of a diplomatic encounter and just kind of teaching people about our culture, likewise them teaching them about theirs, is so that we're all culturally enriched. Is so that they can actually see what's going on both sides of the world, and that social media does not guide the amount of people and the colors of people and the sex and the race and the gender and everything under the sun of people. And so it's just great to kind of not only put yourself out there so that you can learn, but also so that they can learn. And I do believe that traveling is a two-way street of learners and educators. So that's why I say it's important to travel.
I'd say it's important to travel because the world is large, but it's also small. Small in the fact that you will find, I feel like, more similarities, even though there are differences, but there are just so many ways to connect to people or so many connections you have. And you get to see those, you get to experience, and you get to grow. I feel like it's the ultimate, like one of the ultimate forms of experiencing growth is putting yourself in a different place. And then it also gives you, for me, I've learned more about what I love about home and what I like about, being where I'm from. And although America's, the United States. Let me change that. Sis told us the United States does what the United States does. There are still things to love. But you also get a different perspective when you travel, and you're able to think outside of that small box that we experience sometimes when we don't have to go other places. So I think you'll find more similarities and you'll find more things in common. And it just gives you a better appreciation for life and the world. It gives you a better appreciation for all of that.
Yep.
Oh, I love it. Love to hear it. Love to hear it. Well, Joc, you got anything to add?
I just want to say thank you. I appreciate y'all, and I kudos to what y'all doing. Like, y'all inspire me. And so, even though I've
Listen, me
traveled,
too.
I've thought about, I've contemplated living abroad and what that would be like, and it's a lot. But at the same time, it's like y'all out there shaking and moving and really just moving in your purpose, and you can see that. So y'all continue to keep doing what y'all doing. It's people watching y'all that y'all don't even know that's watching y'all, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
continue to live in y'all purpose and do what y'all do because it's amazing what y'all are doing. And so anyway, we can support from the Travel Hour fam. We are here. Tia, stay posted because we might double back to Cairo because we didn't get to go down to lunch the last time we was in Egypt. So we might be coming back. And then Kim, you already know Tanzania.
Yeah.
We're not going to do our safari, so we got to do that. So we stay posted and be ready. But we right here, y'all, and so we supporting y'all as well.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks for having
My
us.
doors are open. My doors are open. I just want to plug my girls for a second. We've started a group called Black Girls in Cairo.
Nice.
Again, you talked about community. We try to meet monthly. My friend Yala started the group, and it's just, even though it's not everybody, again, that communities are forming. If you're interested in going places, Facebook has groups that you can join for travel. And again, back to that, why you think travel is important. You get to just meet more people. And just expand your horizons. Like Sis said before, it's, you have to have friends and connections. So if you want to go to different places, like you got two new people that you know now, places that you can travel, and they can help you
That's right.
make it a great experience. So Cairo is open. Y'all come see me.
And wherever I'm at in the world, it will definitely be open. And I can't wait to continue to post and stay active in a educative kind of way. So I'm excited.
Dope, dope. We love to hear. I love it. Well, I think it's about that time. Before we go, our wandering tip of the week. If you have not heard, or you need help, sitting at home, you need help trying to figure out what you want to do. There's an app called The Nudge. You can download the app. And it gives you ideas of what you want to do. Right now, it's only in 10 cities, which is LA, Austin, Chicago, Dallas, DC, Denver, Nashville, New York, San Francisco, and Seattle. Uh, but they send you little text messages about a list of things that you can do in that area for the weekend. It's good for if you need to plan a date or something like that to give you ideas, hiking ideas, brunch ideas, day trip ideas. So download the Nudge app. In the Nudge, if y'all listening, y'all need to give us an affiliate link. So hit us up, our sponsor. We appreciate that too. So that's our
Love it.
wandering tip of the week. Um, thank everybody for listening. We have had a great conversation today. If you have made it this far, thank you. Not if
Yes.
you should have made it this far. Don't be
You should
cutting
be
out.
here.
Right.
But thank you so much for listening. Please make sure that you follow us on the Travel Hour Podcast. We on what is it? Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and we on YouTube. Bear with me on the YouTube. I'm getting them up, getting the episodes up. They take a little
And
more
he is.
time. They taking a little more time. They take a little more time than the audio podcast, but we're gonna get them up. Yeah. You can follow us on Instagram at the Travel Hour. That's how you can find the Travel Hour podcast on Instagram. Follow us, link with us, send us in some suggestions. If you listen to the podcast, more especially on Apple Podcasts, leave a review for us, please, please, please. Shout out to Catherine who left a review
Thank you, Kat.
a while back. Thank you, Catherine. And we love to see we got new cities popping up on the listen charts. And we just got a notification this past week that we have reached 250 downloads. So that's exciting as well. So continue to connect with us, continue to follow us, continue to support us. Send us some ideas you want to hear us talk about something. Send it in. Send it in. I can't talk right now. Send it in, and we'll get that done. But we want to also make sure that you all can connect with Tia and Kim. And so, how can they find you all on social media?
I honestly want to say the best way that they can find us, and Tia, I'm going to speak for you in this moment because I think it might coincide with what you're going to say, is when you tune into the Travel Hour will put our hashtags and our ats for our Instagram. So we're not going to take up their space and put our at Instagram, Twitters, and all of that.
Yes.
Log on to the Travel Hour, subscribe, follow them on all their platforms, because that is going to be the way that you guys get access to us. And we're looking forward to connecting with you guys. And so I'm going to keep it there. Follow the Travel Hour for any tips, tricks, guides, IGs, Twitters, Facebooks, whatever. All of that.
Period.
Yeah, and also y'all can also follow Kim's part-time foraging page, which is very fun.
No, you see, and yet again, you will find all that information on the Travel Hour.
You said she was washing fruit in the ocean before Riri was.
Follow the
Period.
Travel Hour.
Period. So if you are into foraging and you go onto the Travel Hour, you'll find my forage page and my personal page where I add my traveling experiences and just to kind of like talk to you guys through stuff. But yeah, love y'all. Thanks for having me.
Dope.
Yeah,
Also,
thanks,
we can't leave the episode and not shout out to the Devastating Divas of Delta Sigma Theta, which Tia and Kim are members of.
Incorporated. Yes.
Joc, how can they find you on social media?
Yes, sir. So of course we have the Travel Hour, but also you can find me at THE_Zixter with 2 G's. And so that's where you can find us at. But it's just been a pleasure. And so I do want to leave y'all with this as we get ready to close out, right, Matt? I'm nudging you all to listen to these ladies' stories and the dynamic things that they are doing. And whatever you're at in life and you're contemplating taking that leap, go ahead and jump. Do it. Don't wait. Just do it. We'll figure it out from there.
Yeah. And if you have any questions or you want to chat, follow the Travel Hour where you'll find our tag name, and we'll be glad to have that conversation with you.
Dope. Well, I think we have done our due diligence for today. Thank y'all so much for agreeing to be our guest. I know it's almost 9 o'clock at night over in Cairo. It's time for you to start getting ready for work tomorrow. Thank you, Kim, so much. Thank you, Tia. Thank you, Joc. We at episode 7. Listen, we almost done with season 1. And then we're looking forward to an even better season 2. Thank everybody for listening in. And without further ado, I think we out. We're gonna sign off. Have a great week.
Peace.
Leave a review and follow us.